You have a brilliant idea for a new product or a service at 2 a.m. and you spend weeks building it, designing the logo in Canva and writing the copy. Then you launch and all you hear is crickets. So, are you tired of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Well, today we're going to turn your podcast analytics and lead feedback into a precision instrument for scaling your revenue.
Creating, reorganize, creating, reorganize, creating, reorganize, creating, reorganize. If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I have done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you, if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized.
Dear Creating Reorganizers, welcome back to episode 21 of our Creating Reorganized show for the business owner who wants to market and sell their service and product 24/7, 365 without burnout. Today, we're tackling a massive psychological and financial trap, which is the passion pivot. We've all been there. You have a brilliant idea for a new product or a service at 2 a.m. and you spend weeks building it, designing the logo in Canva and writing the copy. Then you launch and all you hear is crickets. No sales, no engagement, just a massive dent in your return on invest because you had opportunity costs, right? You could have done something else. And that is a one-way ticket to marketing burnout, okay? You cannot market something that is not good from the get-go. In episode 20, we talked about building an evergreen hub and a spoke system to stay visible without vanity, and I'm sure that you got the point. But what if your hub is speaking a language your customer don't actually want to hear? What if you're building delighters, add-ons, nice-to-haves, when your audience is still struggling with the basic needs and the must-haves? It doesn't want them. All the bells and whistles are unnecessary, even if you like them. So today, I'll show you how to develop a new business offer based on data, not on whimsy ideas and not drama. Okay, so we're going to stop assuming and start knowing what your leads want to buy. Because at the end of the day, your effort needs to justify itself. That is called the return on investment. Okay, so we will look and how to use your video podcast as a real-time market research lab to test and monetize your ideas using the Kano Model. And as such, this is really a sequel to episode 12, where I already explained how to test and monetize your ideas with your business promotion video podcast. So, are you tired of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks? Well, today we're going to turn your podcast analytics and lead feedback into a precision instrument for scaling your revenue. Let's do Creating Reorganized. Okay, let me tell you why I'm obsessed with data. STEM is my superpower, and before I was a professor or a coach, I was a scientist. I coded my own experiments during my PhD in neuroscience in Bochum, Germany, and measuring human brain activity to find patterns in patients or uncontrolled subjects. The neural signals and their wallets, when we talk about clients, say something else. So maybe they say, oh, that's a great idea. I love it. I'll think about it. And they go quietly away, right? So it's important to understand customers' decision based on data and not based on their feedback, which can be just nice or whatever, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, all right? So 1 month after my PhD in neuroscience, that was 2008 or so, which ages me, I leaped into the corporate world as an IT analyst at Aldi South. In the grocery world, every single item on the shelf has to justify its existence with data. And that's why I'm saying justify so often in this episode, because I still have the pressure of all the buying directors who said, that I need that data fast. I need that data to be informative so I can justify whatever is to be on that list to be bought or not. So justification is really important in the business world. Again, every single item on the shelf has to justify its existence with data, because otherwise you could have something else sold on that rack, which would then make more money, okay? So what you don't want is to have an item that nobody wants, because then it's a dead item for you. If the customers aren't buying the organic kale or any other food or vegetable in masses, it's gone. It's sunk money. It doesn't really matter if a few buyers love the kale. If the supply chain of success is broken at a point of sale because it's about the masses, the product is a failure and it's quickly taken out from the buying director's list. This taught me that shelf space is sacred. In your business, that shelf space is your limited time and energy. You don't have limited resources. At Accenture, I applied this logic to multi-million euros IT strategies. Okay, so we did not make moves based on vibes or feelings. We made them based on measurable outcomes, risk assessments, and gap analysis. So when I transitioned to being a business owner, I realized that many founders treat their businesses like a hobby, making decisions based on feelings rather on frequency.
Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
Many founders treat their businesses like a hobby, making decisions based on feelings rather on frequency. When I started my first video podcast, the Post-Doc Transformation Show for the Scientist Leaping into Business, I had to apply this to myself. I realized that my early episodes were what I thought scientists would need. But when I look at the numbers and social media comments combined, the audience was telling me something different. I had more business owners who would engage on LinkedIn because of how I market my podcasts. They were not interested in my career coaching advice for scientists leaping into business. They were interested in how I market my podcast, how I do the social clips. That was such a big signal from the market for me, and I listened. That was a stark contrast as compared to the very few scientists leaping into business who would seldomly like and comment my content because obviously they would not want to unveil that they are about to exit academia because they're frightened about being punished. So I tested a new content pillar very low key, and then I started my Creating Reorganized show. The rest is history. So in January 26th, so right now by the time of recording, just before Lunar New Year, yay! And before this show turned 1 year old, the listening number for my Creating Reorganized show exceeded the ones for my super niche post-op transformation show. And that fact is a business lesson in itself. I recently analyzed my data because that is what I do in every season break. I looked at my Podbean data. Standout performers for season 2 were episode 11 on the return on investment, episode 15 on burnout, episode 16 on personal brand versus AI. So this data told me exactly what you, dear creative reorganizer, are hungry for. So return on investment focused strategies and practical AI-based solutions to avoid burnout. That's what we will do in the next seasons. I didn't guess what you wanted as a creative reorganized podcasting service. That is something that someone has asked. Okay, so I saw the data that you were tired of doing the tech yourself. By aligning my offers with your actual needs, I'm building a business that honors my vision of life and yours. I'm not just a professor who is just in theory well equipped, but instead I'm a practitioner using my own advice to save my time for living my life with my kids. So I'm moving from IT strategy consultant to legacy architect. Let's get back to the classroom. Get your notebooks out, creative reorganizers. This is where we're going to develop an offer that actually sells. We have to look at a model developed by Noriaki Kano in 1984. Okay, so we call it the Kano Model. As a psychology professor and former IT strategist, I love the Kano Model because it classifies customer requirements based on how they affect emotionally customer satisfaction. So let's map your business promotion video podcast into these buckets so you can see how to build a high return on invest offer. All right, number 1, the must be, the basic needs, that is the threshold. These are the features that are taken for granted. If they're missing, the customer is extremely dissatisfied. But if they were there, well, then the customer isn't impressed because they just think that's standard, that's professional. And then you need to think about your production value. That is where the tech hub comes into place. In your podcasting business, your must be is a professional distribution and technical reliability. When you say you publish an episode every Thursday, then you have to publish it within that season. Say when you finish that season, come back to the point, to the date and time when you promise to come back for the next season. So this is why I host on Podbean. If your podcast is not on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, particularly for a business owner, you don't exist. Podbean ensures that your must be is handled 24/7, 365. And to be honest, most business owners who have status have an Apple product. So they usually use Apple Podcasts for listening podcasts. Android users, yes, they use an extra podcast player app like Spotify, Listen Notes, Podcasts, Republic, Pocket Casts, Overcast, and iHeart, of course. So as I want to reach business owners with my Creating Reorganized show, having a video podcast on Apple Podcasts is key for me. To be honest, Spotify is more or less interesting for me because of Spotify Wrapped, but that's also just a minor reason. And I know that because I'm hosting on a third-party app, Spotify won't show my videos, my social clips. And that way, they will push their own creators, of course. By the way, the biggest discoverability comes from social clips, not on a podcast player, but instead on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. YouTube at least allows adding an end card with a link to my associated full episode on YouTube. Well, YouTube, its own ecosystem, right? So once we have distributed our podcast via the RSS feed to YouTube, then it's like cutting the cord. So I don't see the podcasting statistics from YouTube in my Podbean, but that's not a problem because YouTube Studio is informative as well. All right, so then we have the communication hub as a must. So your leads expect to be able to reach you. You cannot make money if you're not reachable, okay? So Typeform and ActiveCampaign handle the must be of automated welcome sequences. I mean, you don't want to answer every single question that might be a troll or something like that. So you need to also have some quantification filters. If a lead signs up and gets nothing, that's dissatisfaction. And that's why I set up an integrated Typeform and active campaign. So my leads are taking the quiz. And if they really want to continue on that journey, then they are automatically moved through my segmented email sequence based on their behavior, on their click behavior, on their reading behavior. So here's your actionable prompt. Scan the podcasting tool market and choose the free tiers to test what you need. I selected my tech stack strategically from an IT perspective. IT strategy can be your biggest lever. The key is that you move beyond choosing the tech and get going. That you start your business promotion video podcast so that you can collect data that tells you in which direction you should double down your efforts. And then number 2, in the Kano model. That's the performance needs. That is your competitive edge. So this results in satisfaction when fulfilled and dissatisfaction when not, okay? So the more you give, the better result. Of course, for example, your content factory. This is where Descript shines. The more clarity I have in my audio, the more my audience stays engaged and they endure listening to me. I mean, obviously they're in it for the value. Yeah. So Descript's underline helmets the must be of removing arms, but it also boosts the performance, the nice to have, by allowing me to edit at the speed of thought. So I'm not rambling in this podcast. I do that in real life, but honestly, I know I must be a harsh editor of my own thoughts. We already discussed this at length in my previous episode. So imagine you listen to many episodes and many podcasts, and one of them is worse in content or even audio. So having bad audio is really a no-go. Having bad video is, well, you can get away with it. I don't have to look at your video to understand what you're saying. But a boring, low valuable, or hard to listen to, nerve-wracking audio is a bad listening experience and hence will deter or even have a negative impact on you and your brand. Your service and your product will look bad associated with that. I even had a corporate colleague who told me that my self-made video podcast sounds so much better and looks more professional than their corporate one. Having been in the corporate world for so many years, I understand the slowness and the low-level feeling of product ownership. So no one takes care of that because that's not their main thing. And no one, will celebrate them for that. But their corporate brand is not on the line like your brand as a business owner. They can afford that. But you, if you are building your own brand, need to shine in every way you can. So if you start, at least get the software that makes your podcast professional. Or if you don't want to do that, delegate that production job to someone else.
Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode.
So if you start, at least get the software that makes your podcast professional. Or if you don't want to do that, delegate that production job to someone else. And then there's also the social hub for your performance. Your visibility is a performance metric. So Metricool gives you the data to see if your spokes are working. The more data you have, the better your decisions. And if you're posting without looking at your key performance indicators, then that's a waste of your time. Can you afford that in your business? I can't. So if not, your actionable prompt is this. Analyze your social media data, and if you haven't started your business promotion video podcast yet, this is your baseline, right? That's the before. And then after you launch your video podcast, you can see how your visibility on social media, if aligned with your business, is growing. Now we'll talk about number 3 in the Kano model, which is the attractor. These are the delighters. These are the boosters of your return on investment. Your wow factors. Customers don't expect them. So if you don't have them, they don't miss it because they were not expecting it. But if they are there, your brand authority skyrockets. So that's like, I'm a professor, so no one expects me to be on social media and to earn an advanced AI video editing skills badge on LinkedIn. No one. but I do. So that makes me outstanding, right? Let's apply that to video podcasting, okay? So when you interview people adjacent in your supply chain, for example, your competitors, but also your suppliers, then I would suggest the following. All my interview guests receive 10 to 20 social clips ready to be shared on social media so that they can get the attention they deserve for contributing to my show. And that is something that you can do as well. So you can extract all the moments when they shine as your supplier or as your competitor, as your whatever. And if they are your competitor, you can of course share an affiliate link so that you also have your return on invest by promoting their work. Every year, I create an advent calendar to highlight my evergreen interviews also in retrospective. So I'm still milking it because I know that they've done that work and it's my job in marketing to promote them every single year or something like that. So that is a delighter. No one expects me to do that. And that is how you can make a difference. You can decide to make a difference. For marketing, also offline, I have a branded handbag that I wear whenever I am at a university at a networking event. I put a photo on the show notes. So actually almost every day. A scientist leaping into business can discover my post-doc transformation show in an unusual wow experience. So many people not related to my shows have commented that positively in real life, and that shows everyone how committed I am to my video podcasting. So here's your actionable prompt. Think of your business model. What would be a delightful market differentiator as something that makes your service or product different? How can you offer that with a doable strategic effort and scalable outcomes? And then we can also talk about the interaction hub. Most people expect a boring contact form. An Excel, Google form, whatever, I don't know. There is so much more that the market allows, right? So when I give you a beautiful, interactive business readiness quiz that feels like a conversation, that's a delighter. It makes you want to work with me because you can work through this quiz on your own terms. One of my clients said that this is basically like virtual hand-holding, as she even gets to ask me her most pressing questions and then can choose based on the urgency and stakes of her need whether I can answer her questions in the future episodes of the Creating Reorganized show for free, or whether she wants a paid premium deep dive consultation as soon as possible. Here's your actual prompt. Are there incidents of lead interaction engagement for which you can use automation and monitoring of the outcomes so that you can focus on the high stake decisions in your business? That's where I would have a big look, okay? And then we can also have the knowledge hub. When you buy a service and get a white label premium course area for your onboarding, that's a delighter. Everything works fine. You even have an app. It turns a service into a positive experience. And while the original Kano model stops here, we can also discuss further relevant factors to avoid burnout. All right? So factor number 4, that's the indifferent and the reverse. These are all burnout zones, so stay out of that. If you have an indifferent outcome of an incident, so nothing happens if you do that, that's a no-go. So if you are spending 5 hours on a custom theme for your website that nobody clicks, stop it. That's a waste of time. Use that time to record a video that you could use for selling or whatever. So, or just do whatever you want. You need to measure which business activities actually yield a better outcome worth your effort. Otherwise, you feel good, but there's nothing happening out of it. That's indifferent outcomes. Then you need to also reverse engineer, okay? So just because AI can, you don't have to post it. Full stop, right? So you might have already experienced this. There is too much AI-generated AI slop that sounds fake. So don't be that person who swarms your leads with non-delightful AI slop. It drives your leads and clients away because it breaks your human connection that you are building with your business promotion video podcast, as discussed in episode 18. So don't counteract what you have been building so far. So here's your data-driven strategy. You use your video podcasts and tools like Typeform to map your audience. For example, I recently sent out a survey asking if you want a more technical tutorial style, more performance, or done-for-you production. The data swung heavily toward done-for-you. But I also know that my technical tutorials serve as my lead generators, and they also bring in another income stream. By using my affiliate partners strategically, I am building an offer that fulfills the must-be needs and also the delighters that allow me to charge premium prices. That is how you use active intelligence to ensure your supply chain of offers perfectly matches the demand signals that are all different. That is the ultimate return on invest. Okay, so let's get practical, right? I did not launch the Creating Reorganized podcasting service because it sounded fun. I launched it because of a pilot test experiment that followed the Kano logic. I looked at my Podbean stats and saw that while people loved episode 1, they were getting stuck on the how, the tech. And then I created a spoke, which was very low-key at various business lunches and networking events, leading to a specific question that asks, so I now understand that you are interested in a video podcast. If I would handle the tech, would you start the video podcast or record more consistently episodes? An overwhelming 80% of the business owners said, yes, the tech is my biggest hurdle to consistency. I don't have the time to do that. And we all know consistency is a must be. So if the tech stops your consistency, your business fails.
Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. After this short salute to our sponsors, we now return to our inspiring episode.
Consistency is a must be. So if the tech stops your consistency, your business fails. So here's my workflow documented so you can copy that. Analyze the hub. I saw high downloads on my Avoid Burnout episode 15. Burnout is a result of failing a task. These are expectations that you did not satisfy. You need to qualify the lead. I will now build a Typeform survey to see if these listeners are also established business owners who have the budget for a premium delighter service. Test that with ActiveCampaign. I mentioned the white label service in all episodes since season 2, and I didn't build an actual website. I just tracked the click-through rate to a simple waitlist in ActiveCampaign on all my episode show notes. High click-through rates means high demand. Easy. Now I want to integrate that into my supply chain. So looking at my affiliate partners, I can recommend my clients to subscribe to Descript, Podbean, ActiveCampaign, Metricool, Thinkific, and Typeform, of course, as needed, so that they own their own data, and then they grant me temporary access to work on their recordings and social media assets to scale their marketing arm. All while I can work from home and capitalize on my experience as a video podcaster, an IT strategy consultant, and professor for industrial and occupational psychology. And the result? I'm developing a service that will scale because the data provided the blueprint. I'm building my legacy while caring for my kids because I know that my business is built on data-driven certainty, not just 2 a.m. guesses or whatever. Here's a strategic warning for all business owners. Data is your superpower, yes, but also don't let it kill your intuition. Innovation often comes from attractive features that the audience doesn't even know they want yet. Maybe you see a new pattern, but sometimes the data is not enough. And that is why it's so important to ask the right question, because only the right questions can lead to some goal-directed new business model or whatever. All right, so let me explain you my human-in-the-loop tech stack. To develop offers based on data without burning out, you need a strategic hub. That is Podbean, and you can use their advanced analytics to identify your hub stars. The data doesn't lie. And then we have Descript. You can use their AI-boosted editor, Underlord, to pull out the repackaged social clips for testing new ideas. If a clip of a new service idea gets 3 more views than others, then that's a signal to build something new. Then you need to have your return on investment dashboard. And that proves that human connection, like my face on the camera, performs better than any generic AI graphic. As a researcher, I'm always about finding data that gives me insights. And sometimes clicking through multiple choice options is easy, but capturing also long form answers is important. So this is why I'm using Typeform. It's my primary market research tool. It captures the human nuances, the stories behind the numbers. And then we have also ActiveCampaign. To be honest, they have also really innovatively embraced AI in their whole customer relationship management system. Okay, so this ensures that when a lead shows interest in a specific test topic, your persona follows up with them as soon as possible, automatically and as needed, based on segmentation. And that feature is gold. If you have clients who need time and local flexibility, then you need an e-course if you want to monetize your knowledge and expertise. Okay, so that is when you use Thinkific, for example. Once the data tells you what to sell, you can host it here as an e-course or a membership for more virtual handholding that gives you a professional experience that honors your brand. So altogether, this stack lets you work like an IT strategy consultant while living like a mom who wants to be at the school gates. That's me. Maybe you are in a similar situation. And that is creating reorganized according to what? Your vision of life. I know some of you are looking at your business and feeling 2025 was a little bit off the mark. So this is exactly why I launched the Creative Reorganized podcasting service. We don't just produce your show. We have you analyze your data, and maybe you will come up with new business models. The more you listen to your leads, the more you will be able to deliver something that they actually want. So we use my IT analyst standard operating procedures to find the patterns in your audience behavior so that you can develop offers that actually are wanted and scale. We build the engine and you provide the soul. Because I love being a professor. We only take a few exclusive spots each season. Check out the link in the show notes to apply for our premium service. And here's your actual prompt. If you now want a template of the Kano model, so you can work out your next delightful offering, please go to my show notes and sign up for my Creating Reorganized newsletter so you will get the template for free. And just seeing how I structured it will give you ideas for how to ask your audience what they really want. You can even use it without a video podcast, just in your social media. And if you are nervous about testing a new offer, send me your idea as an answer to my Creating Reorganized newsletter, and I will give you feedback based on my point of view and my experience. I see you as one of my students in a lecture hall, somewhere else, in the US, in India, in Ireland, in Australia, in wherever you are. I'm so grateful to be in your earbuds, honestly. So thank you for joining me. Remember, your audience has the answers. You just need to ask them and need the data to listen to them. Check out episode 11 for more on return on invest and episode 13 for building a supply chain of success. All my affiliate links are for Podbean, Descript, Thinkific, ActiveCampaign, Typeform, and Metrical because I use them myself, and these links are in the show notes. Using them helps keep this show for free. Signing off, I'm Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and I'll see you in episode 22 for scaling your legacy. Until then, happy creating reorganized according to your vision of life. Exactly. Ooh, I already forgot about that. As this is episode 21, right in the middle of season 3, please submit all your questions regarding your business promotion video podcast. I already know broadly what I will want to record as a seasonal story arc, but I will happily adjust bits and pieces to answer your questions because you, as a creative reorganizer, really matter to me. So I'll see you in the questions in Typeform.
Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. Thank you for listening to our Creating Reorganized show. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Eleonore Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy creating reorganized according to your vision of life. Create